Hello, it's so good to see everyone here again. I'm here with Pastor John Mark. We're here for part 2 of our Life on Mission. I guess you can call it more of a kind of like a response, Pastor, of what's happened this past Sunday and how we can take those principles and practice them in our everyday life. Now, this past weekend was a really great weekend for Cottonwood Creek. We did a thing called The Gift. So, Pastor, you want to share a little bit about some things that happened?
Yeah, you know, Will, this whole series is called Life on Mission, and the month of November here at Cottonwood, it's all about mission. And the first week we looked at sharing the gospel, what it means, God's design for the world, the brokenness that sin brought about in the world, and then how we can share the gospel. This week, we in The Gift, we became the gospel. We literally went all around the world from our location. Just some of what we did here in The Gift weekend is, one, we packed over 100,000 meals that our youth will actually take to the Dominican Republic on mission trips, and our people put those meals together. Some of those people there that receive those meals, that's all they'll get for the week. Also, we gave blood. Carter Blood Care was on campus. We did disaster training, so that the next time there's a disaster, we'll have a group of people from Cottonwood that can go to an area that's been hit by a disaster, and we'll be more equipped to really be the hands and feet of Christ. One of the things I always love to see every week is our Pink Hearts Fund on The Gift, when 29 girls and moms just sat down and gave a ponytail, just a certain length of a ponytail that will be created into a wig for a little girl that might have cancer, and it's given to them for free. And so that's always neat to see people do that. So there's so much going on, but it's all about being Christ to those who need it. Operation Christmas Child, we've been a part of that forever, just creating shoe boxes, a small shoe box that we put little gifts and trinkets in that will go to some little orphan boy or girl somewhere in the world. We'll never know. But along with each one of those boxes, they get the gospel. And so bring a smile on their face on Christmas, but also hopefully the gospel will be implanted in their heart. And so really it's our way to understand that as believers, to live a life on mission certainly means that we're on mission to share the gospel with our neighbors or someone we work with. But it's also a lifestyle. It's who we are. We look around the world and see, wherever we see hurting people or struggling people, we know that if God has compassion on them, if we are followers of His Son, Jesus Christ, we also need compassion.
And that's what I like about what we're doing here with our Life on Mission series, is that we talked about the good news here a couple weeks ago. This past weekend, we did the ministries of Jesus, the things that He was about on this earth, and knowing that that's how He married what it meant to talk about the kingdom of God with, these practical things that He was doing. Now, how do we take those two things and do it here in the Allen, McKinney, North, DFW area? We've learned how we can do it around the world, but how can we take these two things and learn from it and begin to practice this here locally?
Yeah, I think that's part of how the gift happened. We've always talked about sending more and more people on overseas missionary trips and mission trips and stuff like that. But the reality of it is, there are some people that will never be able to go. So we started off the gift by trying to bring the world to Cottonwood on a specific Sunday where you could do ministry in Kenya through Naomi's village. You could just anywhere around the world, and we did that. But then what we've noticed, and honestly, I got to be honest with you, Will, it's not necessarily we saw this coming, but clearly God did, because what we found over the last couple of years in doing the gift is, as we become more and more aware of the needs of those around the world for the gospel, it also opens our eyes up for the needs that our neighbor might have, so that we can be the hands and feet of Christ to those in our neighborhood, those in our schools, those we work with. And so the beauty of it is, the more we focus and look at the hurts and the struggles of people around the world, it opens our eyes up to see the struggles in our own Jerusalem, a neighbor who might be going through a tough time. And I think that our people have embraced the idea, the more we do for others around the world, we will naturally be compelled to share the gospel with those who are local and close to us.
That's a really good point, Pastor, because I think that's what has motivated so many people, and the things that we see and how people have even responded to the pictures that are on social media as they say, this is amazing, I did this today, and they start sharing it with others and they start interacting from there. Now, share with us a little tidbit about what this sermon is going to be about this Sunday as we continue to move through this Life on Mission, how the next step kind of plays in here.
This Sunday, I'm going to acknowledge the reality of the brokenness in the world, and that there is no answer apart from the gospel. Let me tell you what, if the government could have fixed our problems, they would have done it. Right. If education could have fixed our problems, it would have done it. But the reality of it is brokenness in our world is real, and it's getting worse. I mean, just look around, just read any news outlet, whatever it is. And so this Sunday, I'm really going to focus on the brokenness in the world, but I'm going to go back to the New Testament and just journey where Jesus journeyed and look at the brokenness that he dealt with the woman at the well, the woman caught in adultery, Zacchaeus, and him stealing from those around him, and just brokenness after brokenness, and see for us, how did Jesus deal with the brokenness of his world? See, because Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost, but he also understood that part of the way the gospel is shared from person to person is when we're willing to meet someone's need first. Yes. And so this weekend, it's about how do we use the brokenness, the reality of the brokenness in the world, to make a connection to the gospel, but also make a connection to the very life of Jesus.
Well, that's really good, Pastor. I like how all of this is really progressive in this series, and I'm really looking forward to it this weekend. Cottonwood Creek, I know you're going to be looking forward to it as well, so make sure you're here this weekend for worship services at 9:30 and at 11, and don't forget about Saturday night at 5 if you can't make it on a Sunday morning. And to see more about what it means to live your life on mission using God's purposes, Jesus' example, and how that can be a real powerful and is the most powerful tool of ministry here that we're supposed to be about doing. So thank you, Pastor. Look forward to the weekend.
Thanks, Will. See you there.